Lou Gehrig's disease, be it multiple sclerosis, be it Parkinson's disease, you will take that and put it on your body and sleep with it in your bed. And what's it going to do? It's going to eradicate the frequencies that create that disorder. How soon? Within 2 years. We are now on the threshold of science. What we're introducing to you tonight is not mysticism, New Age bullshit. This is science of today. Now, these poor people don't know that they're frequencies. So when they get wounds, they think, oh my God, that's a big deal. Appearance and perception. That's our problem. With our infinite, limited imagination, that's our problem. As we know nothing but a limited imagination, we see things in a very narrow way. It's like we're looking through a peephole on the door rather than looking at the door and saying, let's knock it down, let's take the front wall off, and let's see really what we're going to have going on. This has propelled humanity into a deep sense of insecurity. Because if you don't know, it's always there's a boogeyman. There's something out there we don't understand. Oh my God, we're going to be gotten. The bad guys. And who are the bad guys? Limited imagination. That's who the bad guys are. The bad guys are highly educated people with limited imagination. Now, if you go to an expert says you're going to die, you better find a new expert. Keep going until you find one that has a better imagination. You follow? You realize that over the decades, we win international awards very seldom here, because we have the sickest people in the world around us. We're not fortunate like a hospital or a doctor's office, where people, when they first get sick, they show up. This is after they've been abused, knocked into the ground, lied to, their monies are gone, their insurance ran out, then they get on planes with stage 4 something. And we've seen tens and tens of thousands of these people reverse disease. Why is it magic? It's biofrequency. We don't look at things as flesh and blood. We look at things as energy. And until we start to do that, you as a person and we as scientists, we're going to constantly have fault. This has led us to disconnect from the totality of endless life. What is the totality of endless life? What you don't see, what you don't know, what you don't understand, connectivity to the universe. And how big is the universe? Endless. In 2003, we now realize that there's multiple universes. Anyone know this? Let's explain it to you. Why we thought there was a universe, again, limited imagination. The Big Bang. The bang went, exploded out, that was the limit of the universe. You follow? Now, in 1993, NASA over here put a spacecraft up to measure limitlessness and recognize that that explosion didn't stop here. That the further out they go from this known universe, that these pieces speed up. You follow what I'm saying to you? So how many universes are there? Limitless. And when do they stop? Never. Limitless? Never. You're connected to all. You're not only connected to the person standing next to you, the tree outside, the floor you're sitting on top of, the chair you're resting on, all of it. Control has grown from this, unfortunately, as well as the need to categorize, compartmentalize, and isolate ourselves from the balanced rhythm which has given rise to all life. Now, let me give you an audio for those of you that are more audio than visual. Picture the universe the way it should be working, this multiple universe, endless universe, no beginning, no end. As a Mozart concerto. One of the hippest pieces of music ever played are Mozart concerto. You ever hear Mozart concerto? If you don't know Mozart concerto, you've got to get one. You've got to listen. Now, with all of the things you can do on the computer, and why Mozart was so amazing is he had no limit. We call him insane. And so if you listen to a Mozart concerto, it works like the universe, like the waves, like the tides, like the planet moving on its axis, like the universe that's perpetually moving up and going faster, and like the human heart. So why we'll always listen to Mozart as long as there's humans here? It bounces on top of the heart. You follow that? And that's how we should be functioning. We should be resting in that and allowing ourselves to be part of the totality, rather than isolating ourselves with our fear and trying to control and manipulate biology and nature. God knows how little we know. We don't know God, so that's the problem. Disorder and disease, one of the stepchildren of the whole thing, has grown into the so-called norm now. You know, at my age, when I go back and see my buddies from the old life, my old life was a lot of fun, by the way. I've had fun my entire life. When I was a kid, I started to play music in nightclubs when I was 12 years old. My grandfather, Dan Daly, little Irish guy, used to wear hats. Remember that generation? Always wore hats. He used to come into the nightclub, give the guy more than I was making, by the way, and say, "The kid's 18 and I'm here to prove it." And he'd stand there right next to me and I'd play. I played all that way until I changed my lifestyle. And what I recognized at a very, very young age is that normal was pretty abnormal. Here I was just a boy, a little boy, in most cases, watching adults get drunk, and talk nonsense, and act stupid. And I said, my God, when I grow up, that's what I'm going to do. Thank God they let me into those nightclubs, because I realized I'd never do that. Look at not only our lives, but the life of the planet we reside on. We and it have been affected by this disconnect. So when we can say things as ridiculous as we need animal flesh to maintain health, it is because we are out of control and so insecure that we need to control. Do I look like I'm dying? This morning I spent 3 hours lifting intensely heavy weights at the gym, which I do 3 days a week, no matter where I am in the world. This year I'm traveling on a light schedule, 200 days. I just came back from 3 weeks in Europe for a week and a half. You've got to understand, you have a limited imagination, and you're buying into the BS. You're buying into you get old, you get limitation, you get sick, and the dumb doctors in most cases say, oh, you're getting old, that's why you have this. There is no such thing as an old disease. I went with 2 expeditions to tribes, villages where people commonly lived above 100. Of course, I talked my way into being the nutritional expert, and it was hard for me to write about nutrition when I came out, because they were the happiest people I've ever been around. I really wanted to write about happiness. Why you stay old and well is happy. And of course they ate this way. That was the incidental part of it. You follow me? They got the joy of life. They appreciated every moment. You and I have been trained to be mindless consumers. That our joy comes from what we purchase, what we own, and what we have, rather than who we are. And that's why the end of America is very close, people. Because we cannot survive our own limited imagination. We cannot continue to make nonsense paper taggers and call it substance. We cannot have a healthcare system that makes you sick. And I didn't know this statistic in Israel. I remember when they went on strike. I was over there shortly after that. And it actually, in 1 month, dropped 75 points. In the upcoming magazine that all of you will get, you're signing the paper that goes around, in November, we talk about Denmark, when they stopped eating meat during the Second World War, how incredibly their health expanded. And how many of you know that now we got our buddy on board, President Clinton's a vegan? How many of you knew that? You know how that happened? One of my buddies talked to him. And old farm boy, smart guy, he said to him, "No, Bill," he said, "you're on your way for the 3rd bypass surgery." He said, "All I know is nobody gets the 4th. I said, "What did Bill say?" He said, "Not much." He said, "The first time I didn't hear the man talk. He gets silent for 3/4 of a minute on the phone." And then I said, "What did he say?" He said, "Well, I guess not such a bad idea." You better start thinking it's not such a bad idea. Now, genetics. If you look in the magazine, we're in the middle of a study with the University of California, history of genetics. I am sick and tired of them abusing, especially women, with this idea that everything is genetic. When I started to understand this, it was really way